Hey, I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTrackGear.com, and today we're going to break down the install of the all-new Woodcraft toe guard on our 2015 STG Yamaha R3 project bike. Okay, this install, it's going to apply to most any bike out there, okay? This is a very universal fit part that requires you to drill 2 holes in the bottom of your swing arm to install 2 jack nuts. We're going to show you everything that allow you to then mount the plate that accepts this toe guard. This is a brand new design from Woodcraft, replacing the old aluminum shark guard that they had previously. This is a composite piece here, okay, that mounts to an aluminum bracket. It's important to note that you need to have a flat surface of about 4 inches long on the bottom side of your swing arm, just in front of the leading edge of the teeth of the rear sprocket, okay? Most every single, and I said most, look at your bike before you order, most every single sport bike is going to offer the surface that you need to get this installed. Why would you want to put this on your bike? Well, it's really simple. When you crash, especially on a track, there is always that outside possibility that a toe, an arm, fingers can end up in between the chain and the swing arm and then migrate backwards. Remember, rotation of the wheel is this way. So if you feed your appendage in here and it goes in between the sprocket and the chain, I will guarantee one thing to you. Whatever was attached when it went in here, it will no longer be attached by the time it ends up over here, making this a great idea to install on your track bike. Odds are, you're never gonna have that happen, but I'll tell you right now, those kind of odds I don't wanna play that. This bike right now is being ridden by my son Max on the track. It's something we just started doing at the end of last year. We started going again this year. Kid's all pumped up, he's riding really good, he's having a lot of fun. And the last thing I want to do is go out there with a shopping baggie, a little Ziploc baggie, and collect my kids' toes to bring them back and put them in a cooler, hoping they can put them on. This will really help to prevent that. Nothing is guaranteed, but this will help to prevent that. This is something that should be on every track bike. The installation of this requires, like I said, 2 holes to be drilled in the swing arm, okay? It doesn't take a rocket scientist. You take your time, you mock it up. I'm going to show you how to do that. And I think most anybody who's riding a bike on the track should be able to complete this install on their own without any drama. If you like what you see and you want to order one, you want a little more information, see what it took to install it, just keep watching the video. I'll show you the rest of it. Okay, so installing this new toe guard from Woodcraft, the most important part is choosing that initial location. You need to have at least a 4-inch flat on the swing arm, okay? And this R3 swing arm is a little unique. For sure, this lightweight bike's a little bit different, but looking under here, we have what we need. You want the trailing edge of it to be located in such a way that it is covering the teeth of the rear sprocket. We made a little gearing change last weekend, and we're going to go back to what we were doing, so we're probably going to be a little further back in the swing arm once we're done doing that. So I'm going to take that into account in this installation, and I'm going to move it back just a little bit further than you normally would, because I know that we're going to make that change. It's also important that you don't install it in such a way that it's going to come in contact with the chain. Okay, that's a disaster. You don't want that. Evaluate the flat spot on the swing arm. You need to install it as close to the center of the swing arm as possible, taking into account the jack nuts that are going to be slid in there. These need to have room to expand. So if you drill the holes right on the edge of the swing arm, what's going to happen is the jack nut will not work properly. Thus, the toe guard is not going to install correctly on the bike. So you want to try and find a fairly central point, and you need at least 4 inches of flat surface to work with. To find this, I'm going to use a Sharpie. Put this up here, kind of eyeball it. Like I said, I want to be back just a little further. I'm going to make 2 marks right here. So this is right where we would put it. I'm just going to mark the bolts. Remember, this isn't an an exact science. This is, let's get it really close. Okay, so I want to be a little further back from there. Now it's going to come down to having it located centrally in that swing arm. So I'm going to take the actual guard itself off the mounting bracket. These are just 4 internal hex fasteners. Now we'll take a look at how this is going to install here. And we definitely have a good solid mounting surface. I think we're going to be able to get this in there, so it's going to turn out real well. You can see this swing arm kind of, there's just a curve right here at the outer edge. I want the edge of this to be right up against the beginning of that curve. Now to mark this, you could use a center punch. If you have a Sharpie or something that'll fit up in this hole, well, I mean, you could do that too. What I actually decided to do, hopefully this works. So I found a drill bit that's basically the same size as that hole. I'm going to use this to drill the, we'll call it the pilot hole, before I use the 7/16 bit that is necessary to install the jack nut. So I'm going to slip this up in here. And of course, we're going to do one at a time, okay? Find that edge right about there. And then I'm going to get the drill up in position. Double check what I was doing there. It moved just a little bit. Now I'm just going to use that. And you can see that is pretty central. I dig that. It turned out pretty good. Gotta come back here and just hit it a couple of times with that center punch, just so this doesn't walk, and we'll drill the first hole. Okay. Before it'll accept the jack nut, we have to open it up, obviously. This will give us an idea of where we're at here. You can see I just caught that edge, so I like that. That's a good spot. Go ahead and pull that out. We're going to switch bits and drill 7/16. Make sure you don't have any big burrs on the hole, and we do not. Go ahead and get your jack nut. And if you need to get a hammer or something to tap that into position, you can do that. This is a friction wrench that is used to install the jack nuts. This is going to come with 3 fasteners that look fairly close in size. I'll show you all of them right now. Okay, use the shortest of the 3. The 2 that are a pair, those are going to be used to actually install the mounting block to the swing arm once we have the jack nuts in place. Installation screw goes through the friction wrench up into the jack nut. And get that started. The installation wrench they send, it's 3/16. I mean, most of us with bikes, we have metric stuff. Fortunately, the set I bought does have a 3/16 T-handle. We'll go ahead and use that instead of the wrench. that they supplied. It's just a little easier to use. So you can do the same thing if you have one. And just hold it up against the swing arm flush. And we're going to torque it down until you feel it tighten up. What's happening right now is it's spreading out the legs of that jack nut, okay? Okay, about like that is pretty decent. Just a tickle more here. Okay, now we're going to take one of the supplied bolts. I'm going to slide the mounting block up here. And absolutely, before you go drilling the other hole, let's make sure we're in a good spot with this one, okay? Okay. Now before you put any torque to that, let's kind of take a look at the relationship between the swing arm and the edge of that mounting block. I want to get those, run pretty parallel to one another. I'm a little further back, but that's completely on purpose because I know I'm bringing this swing arm, or I'm sorry, the axle further back, so it'll adjust nicely. Let's take a good look at this. Not going to have any contact at all with the chain. Gaps all look really good. I feel pretty good about that. I've got just enough torque on that right now that I'll be able to go ahead and take this 1/4" bit that I did my pilot hole with and mark nicely the forwardmost hole. Okay, now we'll go ahead and remove the mounting block. Okay, same thing we did on the other side. Just gonna go ahead, hit it a couple of times. That center punch. Now we'll switch to the 7/16. If you have any burrs, clean those off. Get that second jack nut. Takes a little effort to push that past. We'll get our installation screw, our friction wrench. Like so. And then just like we showed you on the other one, we'll go ahead and get this installed in our swing arm. Okay, the second nut got just a little bit weird on me, right? So you'll notice the wrench is a little bent up. I just kind of manipulated that a little bit, put a little, sideways pressure on it, get some more friction. it'll go right in there. So don't freak out if you get that. Just kind of manipulate the wrench a little bit. It'll start to go. Once you get the legs spreading, you'll be good to go. Now we're ready to install the block. It's important to note that the reliefs are meant to accept those jack nuts, okay, because they're obviously extending below the surface of the swing arm itself. Woodcraft recommends a little bit of blue Loctite. We're going to put a little bit of blue on this, and we're also going to put a little bit of blue on the actual guard mount bolts themselves to help ensure that, you know, we don't put ourselves in a position where it could vibrate out while you're on track. One at a time, obviously, you know, don't put one in and then tighten it all the way up. Best practice is get each one started. You know, and normally, like you can see that, you know, these are going in, you know, there's a little bit of pressure. You gotta remember the spacing on these. You know, we just kind of hand drilled those holes. We're not talking about like precision, like a set of the Woodcraft rear sets, you know, the mounting holes or one of their engine covers. You know, these are holes literally that, you know, you're getting the spacing where it needs to be, and you're drilling the swing arm yourself. So you need to be very close, okay? But if you have the need to put just a little extra pressure to get the bolt started like I am right now, don't freak out about it. Everything's gonna be okay. We'll go ahead and get these run down so that's up against the swing arm. And then once they're both there, you can see I'm kind of working each one a little bit at a time, keeping them pretty even. Once I have them both seated, we'll go ahead and put torque to each one. Okay, got those all snugged up. And now we're gonna mount the guard itself. There's a little bit of blue on these as well. These are just 4mm internal hex. This is one of those kind of jobs. You want to take a minute, get everything mocked up real nice. I mean, you're drilling holes in your swing arm, man, okay? And you do not want to get that wrong. Get these both run down. Final torque, and we'll wrap this up here in a sec. Okay, there you go. We've got it all wrapped up on the R3. I like the end result. I think it looks good. I think it turned out well. The most important part is now we have it on the bike, so when Max is out there riding at track days, or if he does the race that we're hoping to do here with Wera, June 8 and 9, you know, that he's got this in place. Because if it happens that you fall and one of your appendages makes it in between the chain and the sprocket, I'll guarantee to you, without this there, whatever goes in here, well, it's not going to still be there when it rolls around here. Okay, it's going to flat out cut it right off. That's how it is. That stuff is not going to yield, making this a worthwhile install on any motorcycle that you're going to be riding on a racing surface. I'm Brian Van. This is the all-new Woodcraft Toe Guard install.